relocation of public board meetings to the middle school. So I know this has been shared with the board, and I wanted to, yes, and I wanted to ask, Dr. Chanley if we could talk about how
Sure.
how you had recommended this to us and how we got to this decision.
So, in the past, Mr. Selby and I have had this conversation, just in general about, possible other locations. And then we had a new board member orientation, and it came up as part of the conversation. And, I spoke with Ms. Fabiano and I said, what do you think about changing location? And she said, oh, that would be great. What are your thoughts? So immediately our thought, and I'm gonna explain why, our thoughts were originally the high school. We always come back to the high school, and we were moving forward with the high school, and I was the high school pack. So, and I'm gonna tell you how we wound up in the middle school, because then I'm gonna describe how it's gonna be configured. So then, Dr. Higgins was having a good day. Taller Dr. Higgins, I will say taller because they both have other similarities. So taller Dr. Higgins came to me and said, what are the odds of me being able to talk you out of something? And I said, everybody laughed and said, probably not too good. And he was very lucky because he came to me and said 6 of the dates all had conflicts, and we can't do that. Our children have to come first. Absolutely. So I said, you're off the hook, you would. So we made a big joke about it. And then I looked at the other Dr. Higgins and we said, what about the middle school? So I believe it was Mr. Snyder and Mr. Moraldo looked at the schedule, and we think it's very doable. There may be one date. Now, let me tell you why we came to this. We would like our board meetings to be not only appropriate and successful and positive, but we want them to have a certain decorum. This is only my opinion. I believe it was shared by Ms. Fabiano, but it's only an opinion. I really feel that the structure of a meeting and the location really lends itself to people, I'm afraid if I say this wrong, people's actions. I'm not going to use the other word I want to, people's actions. For example, the podium, for those of you that are watching, the podium is right here. We sit up here, the podium's to the left. People sit in any configuration. Mr. Selby tries to get his security guards to tell them not to go by the stacks. You shouldn't be sitting over there. We have people lounging on couches, and that's fine. And we respect it. And we want everybody to come. It's not that we want to deter people. But it has been shared with me by some community members that they feel uncomfortable coming up to the podium because you have to walk through the back and up the side. You don't have a choice because you can't walk across the front. So when we started thinking about an auditorium, that I'm old, so that's what we call it, an auditorium feature. With an auditorium, you have defined, confined seating. You sit in your seat and you have sections and rows. The first 2 rows, we would say, please no one sit there. And then if someone wants to sit to the right, they could sit to the left, people could sit in the middle. And I also spoke, Mr. Morales having it done, and he spoke with Tech and Mr. Hadlick and Ms. Miller. We're gonna have a podium for speaking with a microphone on both sides. So people have the comfort level. They want to come up to this podium, they can speak. They want to come up to that podium to speak. There's nowhere to hang. If someone's hanging, could you kindly take it outside if you're conversing? No, please speak outside. If you're not hanging, then you're sitting, just like we do when we have a concert or you have a performance. So I felt, and you agreed, that it stepped up the level of decorum and expectation of the actions of the public. Also allowing, let's say people come as groups, as they should. Everybody has friends, fine. This group sits on this side, that group sits on that side. And then I spoke with Mr. Selby, we're gonna have 2 security guards. And when it comes to public session, they will stand by the podium so the person feels comfortable to speak without any commentary. It just, to me, sets up a standard and a comfort level. I actually had someone make an appointment with me to say, I do not feel comfortable coming to a board meeting. I want to be able to come to the podium and speak, but I feel like I have to walk by various people. It's huge. It holds 1,150 people. People could be sporadic. We are not going to go on the stage. We're going to, because the pit is big enough. We're going to be on the bottom. And, we want I watched other board meetings, and that's how a lot of board meetings are conducted. So we, by all means, because I know people watch it, come. We want you there. We want the community there. We could fit everybody. And the other thing is, when we do our presentations, we're gonna have a huge presentation next week. When we do our presentation with staff and students, we have it in here. You can't fit. Standing at the door, there's no room now. We have 1,150 seats. It's a nice way for children to be acknowledged. We already started going through, we had a meeting, and Mr. Moraldo was saying, a couple of them on stage, and shake their hands just like we do here, but it sets a tone. So I was in agreement with it, and I was excited about the change. And just so you know, many years ago, we used to have it there.